Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Bass Bonsai, putting together a video for you. We already finished up topwater video. I'm in the shade now. It may not look like the sun's out, but you can see how much brighter it is over there. Worked that bank, basically put together a little topwater video talking about BFS gear, what size you can throw. This is what we're doing here, but with crankbaits. So you like your hard baits, what can you throw on what size BFS gear, that kind of thing is as I fished today. I'm going to talk about. Go back and watch the topwater video if you haven't already, but we basically talked about you really only have, I really call it two classifications of BFS stuff. You've got your trout stuff, which is considered the ultralight stuff. Then you've got your light or your BF stuff in traditional gear that tends to be heavier than the light. So I'm going to explain that real quick, and then we'll talk about what rods I'm using today and all that kind of stuff. So in BFS fishing, there's kind of two types. There's the trout guys that maybe also fish for bass, but they're on like a smaller bodies of water, smaller bite, smaller fish typically. I'm not saying you can't catch big trout and big bass with the ultralight and that little stuff, but that's what they're doing. They're taking the ultralight and even super ultralight rods like this, and even short ones, little, even down to like 4-foot rods, and they're throwing ultralight gear, BFS bait casting stuff. So then we're gonna see what size cranks we can throw with that, which we have the I guess I should show you, dang it. Now this is on a different rod. I kind of made the handle, but that's the Lure Killer. And I won't go into all the ratings on all the different rods, but the Lure Killer is a good rod. But basically you want to go to AliExpress and look for, you know, I think the Real Test talked about that too. Just to search, go put UL, you might put ultralight casting rod or UL. Try both searches and just look at the rods that they show there. I recommend ones when you're looking for an ultralight, actually any rod you can find, you want a solid tip. I just like the solid tip. Ultralight rods probably a little better. They tend to be a little stouter. That's what the Lure Killer is. That's what you hear the Ace Hawk CU Double, that's what it is, and some other ones. But then the Kind Tetons, the 522, and I'm not sure, I want to say that crazy expensive one, the super ultralight one that doesn't look like a normal Teton, that is, but the 522 and the 632 ultralights are hollow tips. So then you go from ultralight to light, which is like a 661 or 2 Kind Teton, the Dragons, Sonora ProFlex 2s, and then if you guys see me doing, I don't have it with me today, but the Conqueror 6.5 BF. Most of your, like the Shimano Zodius, X-Prides, your Mega Bass stuff, the higher end, when it's considered bait finesse, it's got a stout, it's the stouter light or medium light than what most of these other, what I call, are kind of a cross between trout or bass rods. Like this Dragon, you guys can see how much flex it's got. I'm going to try to do this to show you guys. I'm going to have everything all tangled up before we get started here today. I'm going to do this without doing making too much of an issue out of it. Okay. If you guys can make out just how this is going to be harder to do than I thought. The Dragon, oh my God, this has become a nightmare. The Dragon is softer, it's hard to make it out. The Dragon is definitely a softer rod, not by a lot. And most of the lights I have, the Tetons and the Sonoras that say light, are actually more of a full flex. That whole rod bends, but that's a little stiffer than that Dragon. You can just feel it. Most of the ultralights are more of a you know, fast to some even extra fast with that solid tip. But it changes how and what they can throw, you know, what size bait. So today we're going to get out here and mainly with the dragon. I'm going to show you though, and if you guys haven't known, you can go back and look on videos. The 661, it'll throw all of them. This rod, I've thrown the big Whopper Plopper 130 with. This rod is a badass rod, plain and simple. 661. It's made out, I think, different material than most of the other blanks. I think it is close to the 632 and the 522, but man, that's just an awesome rod. Definitely different than the Conqueror. So we're going to find out today what the dragon and what the lure killer, how heavy can we go with the lure killer, because it'll throw the lightest crankbait you can come up with. But how heavy can the lure killer throw, and then we're going to see how far up and down the dragon can go. But being that is like almost perfect for a crankbait rod in general, so for ultralight and light crankbait fishing should be perfect. So what better bait to start with than, you guessed it, the Dr. Frankenstein. I guessed that at an 1/8 ounce crankbait. And so we're just going to cast it out, and as you can see, no issues. That's the PW100 with the purple spool. Now there should be grass in there. One thing I like about the Dr, he's got little hooks. I may need to cinch this drag up one click. 2 clicks on the drag. So we're gonna throw this bait for a little bit, and as you can see, perfect. It, what I call, pretty much bombs these little bitty baits. I thought I had another hit. I think I may have had grass. But the Dr, oh, I missed another one. What is going on here? The Dr just gets bit. Now this is, I think this is a new one. I got my old one. I've got 2 of these in this color just because this color works so good. And the one thing I like about these little cranks, you can kind of come through grass. The hooks are so small, they'll just peel off grass. Even better than like the little diggets and stuff. Can't believe I missed that bass. I'm gonna catch a bass for you guys. I feel it hitting, there's this tree right up there. I can feel it hit that, but I'd swear right when it comes off, unless there's a clump of grass there it's bouncing off of too, I swear I'm getting hit right when it comes off that clump of grass, or comes off that log. So I'd say it's actually a fairly sensitive rod. I mean, I'm using braid. I've said it before. It doesn't take much of a rod to feel what's going on with braid. You compare fishing line to like the old, you know, telephone line. They came out with mono, the first telegraph line, upgraded to the feeling of like braid. It's like difference between 4G and 5G. I mean, in my mind, there's no comparing. Even the fluorocarbon, the feel of braid. Now I will admit, it has to be a fairly tight line, but I'm feeling bumps. I may need to switch. I'm gonna switch colors. All right, hang on. This is already a long freaking video. I'm gonna have to edit this out. Okay, before I get too far ahead of myself, I'm already missing some fish, and I've switched out. I've changed colors on the Dr, but I'll talk more about that later. Before I get ahead of myself, talk real quick about the kind of baits you can use, what I'm going to try to show you today. But there's all kinds of baits out there, crankbaits. These Bass Pro Shops, they're house brand, little bitty guys, work awesome. Of course, we've talked about the Dr, and there's the Dr. You can see the size comparison. Close to the same size. Doctor's a bigger overall profile, but a smaller bill. It's not going to get as deep as these guys. Shouldn't have as much wiggle. These guys should go, they're just a little different, but close to the same profile. Then we're going to throw this little bitty guy, little snap bean looking things you can get at Bass Pro Shops. I don't like those, but we're going to try them. these little bitty square bills you can get from AliExpress, but these tend to sink. They're like kind of like the Doctor. The hooks are so heavy, they're not a true floating. So they'll work. You can't quite work them like you would a normal square bill, to me anyway. Then just to the old standby, some of these old little bitty Bagley baits. They're still good ones. Even your rattle traps we might get in. The little bitty, what are these called? Scatter wraps or something. These little guys work real well. Even down to your more deeper jerk and twitch type baits. The old small bomber fat A's. Just little rebels. The old balsa. Just a little glimpse of these little bitty baits. All these can be used. And I'll probably try to get out. Should be able to catch a fish with those. I found those. Those are like the $1.79 at Bass Pro, and that's what I was whacking them on, that little stream. Me and Charles, I found them again, so I bought another one in that color. So I got 2 of this color now, 1 in that color. Might buy some more, I don't know. Then this newer Berkley small little bitty bait. We may try it out, but that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try all those. I'm gonna try to give you a heads up on how they work and how big a bait can I go with the ultralight, how little can I go with the light version. I probably don't want to try to throw that with the light, and I more than likely, I don't know, I should be able to throw all these with the ultralight. These may be a little overkill on hook sets for these, but we may try it. Anyway, let's just see what we can do. All we can do is try, right? I'll try it, and then you guys will know, hey, you can do it, or don't try that, dummy. Okay, the show must go on. I'm gonna move on up here. Sun is coming out. That brighter bait I'm hoping will work, because the Doctor himself, I was like missing bites. It was hard to explain, but I felt like I was getting a hit but missing them. So just real quick, gonna try this lighter, brighter colored Dr. Crankenstein. That felt like a hit too. What is up? Is this new dragon rod unlucky? I gotta work the luck into it. Something. Oh, I had a backlash. That was the first one in a while on this rod, or this reel. I had one on my Aldebaran earlier. It's actually a pretty good combo. The reel is 6.6 to 1, so it's about the good mid-range for. I think I need to slow down. I might need to keep that rod tip down. Good cast. Getting good cast, but no takers. Try a different bait. Maybe the Doctor's out. We'll come back to him. Throws him just fine. Just can't get anything to hit right at the moment on him. Let's go with this dude. Now this guy's going to actually be deeper, so over in this shallow water it shouldn't really work, but sometimes this little guy, he's a little bit lighter than the Doctor. See that? Looks like they're chasing something right over here. Yeah, I got grass. That bait is a little too deep over here, but if you're just reeling slow. I do like the overall sensitivity of this rod. If you guys can make it out, probably not. The tip is vibrating pretty good. This is a 2-piece rod, and There we go. Now I didn't throw the doctor over that way, but that was a fish pretty quick. Awesome little rod. Awesome bait. Talked about it before. But that little bait is good. As good as the doctor, probably. That little BFS bait, I want to say they're $3, $3 or $4. My accuracy is off. I can just tell it's not like throwing this the best. Must turn it up. It's still official to her to be caught. So, although you've seen me cast it, and I got the wind working to my advantage now, so I'll cast another one. But it kind of, the spool gets fluffy, and the casting sucks. It just feels way not right. So I'm gonna say no. Your light rods, stay away from a true 1/16 ounce. Now you can probably throw a 16th ounce crappie jig with the skirt because it actually weighs more than, so like 2.5 or 3 grams or up. It's probably where you want to go. So I'm gonna go back to the doctor because I can't believe the doctor wasn't getting hit. So we're gonna stick with the doctor on this rod. Or actually, wait a minute. Hang on, we're gonna put this rod down. We're gonna go and we're gonna see same bait I just threw, and you can see hopefully how much easier this rod throws it than that light did. This is this is Ultralight. And honestly, it didn't throw it a lot better, but it did throw it. Let's try that again. So yeah, it's better, but the 16th ounce is probably better suited for even a better spool than even what this, which they're good, that's a good castable distance, but this rod with the Alpha's TW Air, the Aldebaran BFS, any one with one of those crazy light spools would probably be, look at it, I'm getting up in there. So you can see I'm casting it, but it's just not as easy and quite as accurate as something just a little bit heavier. It actually throws that, this rod throws that little popper, so it must weigh a little more than this bait. It throws the popper better. I thought I'd get hit with this bait. Let me try it again right through here. Okay, so it'll throw it. I don't recommend it. I don't really like these baits for real little creeks, but for out here, I don't like none of these smaller baits. Those real little guys are better for real small water. So let's see how heavy can you go with let me see if this is the bait I want to throw. So that is like what, quarter? That's a pretty good sized for Ultralight. Let's just see if it'll throw it. I hope I don't break the rod. Hopefully you guys can see the give. See the bounce. That's quite a bit of weight. I'm not gonna cast it as hard as I can, but wow. It definitely can throw it. I wouldn't throw it as hard as I could. So they're rated to I don't think it even has a lure rating on this one. I think it just has a line rating. Unless that's, what is that rating for? Nope, 2 to 6 pound line. Doesn't specify what size bait. As you can see, that bait right there is definitely, I was hoping to get a hit. I could see about hookup ratio. Now my drag's set loose enough, I should be able to yank as hard as I can. It won't break the line or the rod. There we go. So, as you can see, it works. Super ultralight, or super, I keep saying super because I think of the 522. Ultralight gear, you can throw these bigger baits, and that's a decent sized treble. See that treble size? That's the smallest booyah hard knocker, whatever size that is, quarter or whatever. So, can I get a booyah? Sure you can, little buddy. Okay, while we're on the top end, we've seen, you know, that they can throw that big on the ultralight. I'm gonna just try, I'm not gonna go, I don't think I'm gonna go with the 3/4, but the 1/2 ounce, not yet. I don't wanna break it on the first day out. We're gonna throw the 1/2 ounce. So you can see that, about the same kind of thing. That's a 1/2 ounce rattle trap on this dragon. It's rated for, this says what it is. Lure 2 to 10 grams, so 1/2 ounce. I don't know, how many grams is a 1/2 ounce? If the 8 is 2, 4, 6, 8. So yeah, it's 10 grams, that's right? Technically it should be able to handle this. And yeah, it flings it out, no problemo. I don't know what the odds is we'll catch another fish or not. I think I'm already hitting bottom. But feels way too heavy. I wouldn't recommend it. I would throw, you know, on a medium light. But if you're wanting a all-around crankbait rod, I wouldn't have any issues throwing 1/2 ounce. Crankbait's down to an 8. That 16th ounce, I wouldn't like really suggest that. Yes, it can do it. But the sweet spot in my mind for this is that 8 to 1/4. You know, so that smaller booyah we threw on the ultralight down to like the Doctor is basically where I would recommend it at. It just has that, you feel like you can't throw it as hard as you want to because you may actually snap the tip of the rod off on the cast. Thought I had a fish. Need to hit grass. I got a fish. He is a monster. Woo! Now, I didn't have him way up there, but right at the end. There's little bitty guys over there. Them little guys are brave. That's how white he is. Tells me they must be very deep, right? Like they're at the bottom. They're on bottom when they're that white. So yeah, you guys just saw it. It'll work. I wouldn't recommend it though, still. As I'm gonna wrap this video up, I didn't get really a chance. I guess I was gonna show you guys the 802. I just like throwing 802 in there. Any of you guys interested in getting this thing? But that is just a perfect all around for a lot of different baits. It's got a big range. Let me see if I agree with what it says. 8 to 3/8, yeah, easily. 8 to 3/8 probably is perfect on everything though. I recommend this for cranks, for rattle traps, for chatterbaits, for jigs, for whatever. See, it's soft and then it loads up hard, and it's just a strong rod. Like it can do it all, and do it all pretty well. Something that they're working on, those little bitty fish. I think there's grass. Hold the rod tip up. Anyway, I need to get out. I need to put a wrap on this video. I'm gonna get off the buds. You know me, I got everything. I got it all. But if you're trying to narrow it down on one rod off AliExpress, in all honesty, I would still, even though they're more expensive, they're more money. The Dragon may be good for just a crankbait only, you know, more of a, once you're trying to fine tune you know, for your cranks and stuff. But the best all around that I've still found is this guy. May not look like it, but it's still stout enough to set the hook on a 16th ounce shaky head. I have no problem on those 16th ounce single hooks setting the hook, you know, with the soft plastic, you know, Texas rigged like a shaky head, or you can rig up TRD, you can rig everything, the Zinkers, like a Cinco style. And when you pop them, I don't have an issue setting the hook. Soft enough to throw small baits, but the 8th ounce trebles, cranks, no problem with hooking them. And the 662 should have the same feel. The Dragon, I feel, is still, it's just a little softer for those. And I may try it here shortly, just so we'll know, you'll know, and I'll know if it's capable of setting a hook on shaky heads, or if I'm losing more. I definitely don't recommend the Ultralight for a best all around. The Ultralight is what it is. It's for the small little bitty areas, or if you just want to have fun with poppers or some cranks, you know, and you just want to catch any fish on a little bitty rod, you know, it's not really the best all around. So if you're on AliExpress, and I'm gonna probably order a couple more, and I'll talk about it in other videos. I got my eye on 3 or 4. But I think they're going to be stiffer. They're going to be closer to the Kind Conqueror than they are the Teton 661. They're closer to the 6.5 light. The 6.8, was it light or medium light? The Conqueror that I broke, that was a pretty good rod for all around, but it kind of loses it on like getting finessey with some of the cranks, because they get stiffer on those rods. Anyway, I got to get out of here. Hopefully you liked that video talking about these crankbaits and just on what to use, how to use them, on where to use them. It's pretty simple. You look for these ones, the shorter the bill, the shallower the water as far as I'm concerned, and then the deeper the bill, typically the deeper water. It's not 100% true, because a lot of times you can just hold your rod tip up and real slow on the, you know, to make anything run shallower, whether it's got a big bill or not. You can hold the rod tip up and crank on these lipless and still hold them up, or you can put that rod tip down and just crank slow and they'll go deep. You know, it's all in how you're holding your rod and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, as I get out of here, there's a couple things I'm still searching for. They're working over there too. There's a couple rods I'm never gonna find. There's one Daiwa Heartland. I want to find it, but I need to find a good jerkbait rod, and I still am looking for basically a replacement for the 661. I can't get them anymore, so if this rod were to break, what do I want to replace it with? I have no clue. 662 possibly, but they've raised the price on those. NRX rod, I mean, it's right there, but let's be honest, it's heavier, so it just has a little, get off of there. I can't even get it out of there. But it has a heavier overall feel, so, you know, just a touch, but it's there. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Get out, go bass bonsai for yourself, and stay tuned for the worm video, because that's what I'm going to do now. This bite is tough up in here. I may go to the deep area, and if I get up there with any cranks and do them, they'll be on the end of this video. But my plan is switch to worms, and we're going to see, you know, what kind of soft plastic game these BFS rods and the NRX rods have. The NRX rods have a lot of soft plastic game, trust me. But anyway, thanks for watching. Now you know I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't get the old dig it out and just see what he feels like on the dragon. You know, I got to at least try it before I go to worms. Come on, dig it. Don't let me down, dig it. I'll tip up a little bit. Oh yeah, that dig it just has an action to die for. Oh, they're working. Look right up here, right up here. Perfect timing. Come on, dig it. Come on, dig it. Get up there. Ooh, right there in the honey hole. Floating. Give it the time. Let them spook and not spook. Bump something in the grass. Ah! I may still have this drag 2 weeks. I think I went 2 clicks tighter already. Look at that rod tip shape. I got one. Is that me? My imagination? Or did I have one? I could have swore I had one for a second and then I... Look how quick the dig it's hitting grass, too. You don't want to splash them hard. Remember I've talked about, you can do the little baby bump. That's deeper right through here. I actually think I may like this rod for cranking. That's another thing. I've got my eye on like 3 other rods off AliExpress, but they're all 2-piece, and I don't know, I just have this issue about spending too much money on 2-piece rods. I know I probably shouldn't, because this was like a $50 rod, and you know, most of them $50, $55, it's not a huge deal. But like for 87 up to 120 are the 2-piece rods, and I've been looking at, and I'm like, nah, I don't know, man, because there's just something about it, you know. We're Americans, we got to have 1-piece rods. But especially, I've talked about it, me fishing with braid, like look at that, like I feel all the shaking and commotion going on. I need to compare it with the Teton, because I think, in all honesty, this rod may translate better than a 1-piece Teton, whatever it's made out of. That's pretty, I mean, just, you guys look for yourself. Let's compare that. Let's do that real quick. I'll tag it on to the end of this video. So watch this. I'm going to cast, and I'm going to put this bait on the Teton. Cast it out there. Now look at that tip. Hopefully you guys can make that out. I mean, I can feel that. You can see it. What that lets you do, I can crank that, dig it down, and I can feel exactly what's going on. If I feel grass, feel whatever, I can kill it or set the hook. And that feels good. That rod has a good feel to it. I like that. Now once you get in these littler baits like the Dr. Nim, some of them have a more dead feel. It doesn't translate as much. The dig it, I've always liked the way it felt. So let's just see what I think of the dig it. And I may have to throw it in on the NRX just to add it into the video so you guys, a high dollar rod, does it feel that much better. So 2-piece compared to 1-piece. Of course, I'm pretty sure they're made out of different materials. So we dig it. About the same. You guys see that? Oh, that grass. The dig it just, man, he works. Like, he has that vibration. I'd have to say they're close. Being this is a little stiffer rod, a lot of times your softness of your rod will kind of take away some of the, not necessarily the feel, but how intense you think it is. Because like some guys, that's why they'll throw on a kind of softer the chatterbait on a very stout rod like these NRXs and stuff. You feel like the whole thing. So we're gonna put the Dig It on here. And if I had to call anything, I would call them very even, but almost like that Dragon has a touch more sensitivity than the Kind. But here it goes, the 802 NRX. Look at that tip. But I'll be honest, do you see that tip jumping? I can't feel that. That tip is jumping like crazy. And I can't feel it. I can tell it's working, but not as intense as that tip is jumping, which is nuts to me. Let me cast that again. I'll try to hold the rod here so you guys can see. Don't get me wrong, I can feel that bait's working, but I'd almost swear that Dragon is a more sensitive freaking feel tip. Maybe just because it's a softer like that. Okay, I got lines all tangled up. Get off there. That's one thing about a damn snap. It's easy to switch, but man, them little things will tangle up and everything. Okay. This little quick comparison video turned into a nightmare, didn't it, kids? Let's go back to what we were doing here with the Dragon. Now, some of you might be like, well, you added the weight on the back of the NRX and that killed it. Well, this Dragon's got weight added on it too. I did it. The same thing did. All I did was stick weight on the very butt end. Shouldn't have anything to do with the overall feel of the rod. If I can ever get this thing cast out, I may have to get another Dig It out and put it on, and I can cast them back to back real quick. Okay, here we go. Get that Dig It out there. Yeah, I would swear, see it jumping? I would swear I could feel it. I swear I can feel it more in this freaking rod, and it's a two-piece freaking cheap rod. Maybe because it's lighter, you know, it's a light, and that's the 802 is more probably like a medium. I mean, that may be the difference what I'm feeling. Yeah, it's insane. I like this rod. I like this rod. I didn't think I would like this rod. I balanced it already by just adding the 1 ounce to it. 6'8". I like the length. You guys can watch how well. I mean, for the Dig It. There we go. Let's see how good it brings in a better fish. That's not giant, but biggest I think we've caught today, which isn't saying much. But oh yeah, look at that. I can actually power it in. I mean, it's a light rod, but no issue for these little bass. Should I boat flip it? I'm gonna do it like this. Look at that. What a way to end this video. Do I got a new rod that I like? Actually, for the money, sure do. What it tells me though, is I probably need a picture of this since I haven't caught anything big. We'll get a picture of this up against the Dragon and the old Go-To. Man, that Dig It. I wish they made those again. That's one thing. It's like every time I get something I really like, discontinued. All right, guys. I'm gonna get a pic, get out of here, go bass and bonsai, and look forward to the other videos. See ya.